What's up everyone? Today I'm super excited to introduce the new motor that's going to be going inside my 2014 Scion FRS time attack build. This video is going to be about what the motor is comprised of and what makes it special, and the next video is going to be about why I decided to stick with the FA20 platform as opposed to swapping to a different motor. Before I get too deep in this video, make sure you guys check out the sponsors that help make this video possible. They're in the description down below, and I'm really appreciative of all of them and all the things that they do for me. To begin with, we'll start with the internals. Like I said, it's a 2.1 liter D Sport FA20. Now normally this motor is a 2.0 liter, but instead this motor is a 2.1 liter, and the way that it achieves that extra displacement is by having a longer stroke. So it has an upgraded crankshaft that has a longer stroke. Now it has a 2.1 liter displacement, so it'll have a little bit more room to make power inside the motor. In addition to that, it also has low compression pistons. The pistons in this motor are a 10.7 to 1 compression ratio as opposed to the 12.5 to 1 stock compression, so it'll be able to handle boost a little bit better. And in addition to that, it also has strengthened internals to help with the boost, so strengthened connecting rods, strengthened pistons, like I said, strengthened crankshaft, all the things to help make sure that this motor stays reliable under boost. This motor is still the OEM open deck. It is not a closed deck and is also not a sleeve block. The reason that we decided not to go with closed deck is also because closed deck does open up the door to cooling issues because it limits the amount of surface area for the coolant to travel by. And the reason that we didn't go with sleeve is because it would just be extra money to spend on having the motor have sleeve installed. And then also there's a chance that you could drop a sleeve, and so with the amount of power that we're intending to make, we didn't need either of those, so I didn't want to spend the extra money or run the risk of overheating or dropping a sleeve. Now that's about it for the short block. Moving on to the head, it does have SuperTech valve strings and SuperTech valves. That way we can achieve the 8,000 RPM redline that we're hoping to get to. And it also has upgraded HKS spark plugs. Now that's about it for the engine internals. Moving on to the outside, we do have radium fuel rails, and they're going to be feeding into Injector Dynamics 1050 injectors. We also have the STI JDM AC Elite to help lower the amount of weight in the front of the car. We also have the red 2017 and up intake manifold, basically just to match the red intake piping that I have from the turbo kit. And then moving towards the center of the motor, we do have an ATI super damper to help with the harmonic balancing of the engine. And on the other side of the motor, we do have the Varus fuel rail cover, which helps delete the really heavy OEM fuel rail covers and still connect the direct injector computer on that side. And it also is a nice red to match the rest of the red accents on the motor. And of course, the last thing that you can see, and the part that I'm most excited for, is the dry sump pump here on the bottom. Now this dry sump is built by Daily Engineering, but the kit to make it go on the FA20 motor is built by G-Speed. I'm super excited for the dry sump because the number one issue that I had with my last motor was blow-by, and this dry sump is going to make sure that we eliminate all the blow-by issues on this motor and help keep our system reliable. But that's going to do it for as far as what you can see. Now what is not currently on the motor is the custom JDL turbo manifold that we had built by JDL. The reason that we don't have it right now is because it's currently getting ceramic coated, and then after it's done getting ceramic coated, it's going to get Inconel wrapped to make sure that we don't have any heat issues, especially because of the way that the exhaust manifold is going to run around the dry sump. We don't want any of the heat from the exhaust manifold to radiate onto the dry sump and damage it, or to radiate onto the dry sump and heat up the oil. Now that turbo manifold is going to feed to a Garrett G25 550 turbo. My plan is essentially to push the G25 550 turbo to as much power as it can make, which we're hoping will hit about the 450 wheel horsepower mark. I don't think that we're going to upgrade that turbo into anything larger, at least yet, because my priority is more of accessible power through the rev range as opposed to a really high horsepower mark, which is only achievable when you hit the high RPMs, because this is a time attack car, so we do need mid to high RPM power. Now this motor is going to be sending power to the Mazworks CD09 transmission, so we won't have any issues transferring the power from this motor into the drivetrain. And in between the motor and the transmission, you're going to find a South Bend Stage 2 endurance clutch. That might be the weakest link of this build because it is rated to about 350 torque, and there's a chance that this motor can go higher than that when we make it get to the amount of power that's going to be making, so that clutch might need to be upgraded down the line, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for this motor. I'm still setting everything up, like setting up the dry sump, setting up the fueling system, and once it's done, I'll make a video walking you guys through how I did it, so if anybody wants to copy my system, they definitely can. I'm super excited for this motor. I'm super excited to see if it makes the amount of power that we want, and I'm also super excited to see if it's as reliable as we hope it'll be. So if you guys have any questions about my motor or about my build, feel free to leave them in the description below. You can also check me out on Instagram. I post pretty frequently there at Nairman98. Make sure you guys subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.